All right, all right. Maybe this time it will work. Uh, as everybody gets in here, I know this is kind of short notice, but I finally got home. Hopefully the audio is coming through all right, and you all can hear me just fine. Knock on wood. Long drive for me. And I just got back. Had a little bit of time. Okay, rock on. Thank you, Don. Had a little bit of time just briefly to look at some of the stats that were the final. My situation, I was in a drinking establishment known as a bar I got them to put the game on, but I got no sound, so I got no benefit of any of the play call because the satellite feed, the Sirius feed on the audio was about 3 minutes behind, so nothing was syncing. So just barely took a look at some of the stats at the end of the day. So I'm just going to go off of what were my takeaways having watched it live. Again, no film, no stats, haven't gotten there yet. So had a great weekend with my wife. It was our anniversary, so we were a few hours away up in Steamboat Springs. And for those of you, all those Chiefs fans, I sat with a couple of Chiefs fans today in Steamboat Springs, of all places. Hope you guys enjoyed it. They said they'd probably be on here tonight. So new fans and new places, I like that. Big takeaway. I thought Mahomes in general looked better physically. Didn't look like he had to favor his foot as much. So I was hopeful for that. And I liked what I saw. I felt like his intensity was up a little bit. You saw some of those shots when things weren't going well, where he was getting a little animated, getting some guys fired up and getting in guys' butts, really, just to get them going. From what I hear, no serious injury for Wiley. I know he left the game and came back in, so I think that's a big plus. Continuity on the line here is going to be key going forward, depending on what happens. I know I saw a picture of Eric Fisher coming home the other night, so that's a big plus. Okay, now you guys are starting to get here. I'm a little bit behind, but hey, thank you guys. Thank you, Stevie. Appreciate that. And Finn, you guys too. I thought that the big takeaway is that Mahomes has separated himself. I mean, Lamar Jackson played well, I thought, in general. He threw a couple of really bad balls and a couple of balls that I don't think should have been caught. I mean, it was luck. That one that got them down in scoring position should have been an offensive interference call. That was pretty plain to see. I think that was the one that was even overturned, so I don't know what they're looking at there. But I think for the other quarterback in the NFL that's been hot the last few weeks to start the season, I think Mahomes really differentiated himself and set himself apart from Lamar Jackson. And I think that's not one of the goals of the season, but I think that aids in the whole groundswell and it lets him get in guys' faces and motivate his players, motivate his linemen, and get better play out of them. Just to be able to see that, I think that really makes a difference for those guys, especially those that maybe don't have as much experience with him. Cam Irving's one thing. I thought he got beat a couple of times and looked a little bit silly, and then he made a couple of really nice blocks. Again, I don't think we're ever going to see a consistent thing from Cam. I think he's a guy that's going to have ebbs and flows. Aaron, Jerry, I appreciate you guys trying to see the thing live that I did in town before I hit the road. Sorry that audio sucked. I apologize for that. I took the thing down. It's not even available anymore because it was kind of embarrassing. Trying to make this stuff up as I go, and when I can do things like that remote, I try to, but if it doesn't work, then it just doesn't work. So, but that said, big picture, I think it was important for Pat Mahomes to step forward and to deal with that adversity by gritting his teeth and getting down to business and kicking some guys in the butt. I thought that was a big positive for his leadership. It's easy to lead when you're kicking every team's tail and you're the best quarterback in the league and everything's going great. Real easy to be a leader in that situation. It's when stuff breaks down and guys aren't performing the way you need them to. That's when you have to become a true leader, somebody that they don't have to like at that moment. They just got to do what they're told. So that's a big part of it. Skill positions. Really happy for Darrel Williams. You guys have heard me talk about Darrel for going on 2 years now. I thought Darrel showed a really well-rounded game. Ended up gaining the most yards from scrimmage of anyone today. 47 in the air, 62 on the ground. If I added that all up right, he's a yard ahead of Mecole Hardman. So more power to him. I thought that was good to see, and especially when it was great to see Shady run well. And Darrel ran just as well in terms of yards per carry output. But the fact that if Shady hadn't been able to go, you have Darrel. And everyone's got huge expectations for Darwin Thompson. And I know he didn't have the best day out there, and that's okay. He's going to be fine. For everybody who's really chomping in the bit to see Darwin, he's going to be fine. I can really envision a season or two from now, a lot of Darrel and Darwin back and forth. I think that's going to be a great combination, kind of like the Giants' old Thunder and Lightning kind of thing. But again, Darrel's style, because he's a bigger guy, his pads are wider. Holes have to be different for him. But you saw, at least on, I think it was the screen pass, when he cuts and puts his foot in the ground and he wants to go forward and downhill, that's Darrel at his best. And I think that was great to see him actually pull that off, be productive. And a guy that if Damien's hurt, if LeSean's hurt, Darrel can step in there and be a workhorse. Darwin can come in and spell him 4 deep. That's a heck of a running back room. So, Dylan McCullough and Eric Bieniemy have everything they need, I think, in that foursome. So I think that really reassured both the team as well as the fan base. I hope you guys are all reassured by that. I think that was great. I know you guys are asking questions. I'm going to try to just get through this with my normal observations. If I see something important, I'll grab it out of there. I see a lot of friendly faces. Big Chief Sean, folks, if you don't follow Big Chief Sean on here, he's got a great channel that is all about you. So make sure you check out Sean. Adam, Andy, saw Jerry, Harry Mills is in here. What's up, Harry? A lot of you guys. Just going to get through my thoughts tonight, and just like normal post game. Sorry it's so late, but we'll do the normal Q&A tomorrow night. So, geez, Brad, thank you. This is a cheap throwaway video. I very much appreciate it. Thank you. Skill positions continued. Outside of the running backs, I thought Travis Kelce looked a little bit winded. I don't know if they were beating him up physically or not. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the replay for some of that. But still looks like he's moving well. He can still shift his hips. He's making guys miss. I mean, maybe he still looks like he's maybe 95% to me in terms of acceleration. And maybe he's got a little bit of thing going on stamina wise. I don't know. But hey, 95% of Travis Kelce is better than any other tight end in this league. So that said, I am going to break down, if you guys missed it, Brett Coleman, a guy that I've had Brett on the podcast before. He does his channel on here, and I'll try to link that as well. Did a great breakdown of the plays that didn't count last week from week 2. One of them was that deep pass to Mecole Hardman. And I said on Twitter, I'm glad that I didn't break it down. I was going to, and I just kind of ran out of time, and I wanted to focus on things that were productive. But he did a great job breaking it down, and I'm glad that he did, because he does better than I do. Brett Coleman, you guys go find him. It's Kollman. And the big takeaway for me is that particular route is kind of just it's a opposite corner kind of route. There's a little bit of tweak at the top, and I'm going to compare the one that didn't count last week to the one that did count today, because I thought it looked to me live that it was the same route combination. So I thought that was well done. It shows you what Mecole Hardman's capable of, especially if you can get any confusion in the secondary and they don't have a guy that's already dropping back at the snap out of a 2 deep or a cover 4 or something like that. Like, you have to have that. You put him and Tyreek together, and this is going to be scary for the rest of the NFL. It's going to be something that they're going to have a hard time keeping up with. I mean, clearly they're already having a hard time, and that's just a rookie. So I thought that Sammy looked good when he had the ball. I did like that they did the little shuffle pass in the backfield for him. I want to go revisit that play. I still feel like that should be a staple in this offense until somebody stops it, because it draws so much attention up to the line of scrimmage. That doesn't really look that good on camera. Sorry, guys. But that crisscross action in the backfield, that little touch pass, I think it does go down as a passing touchdown when it happens. But I think that's key, because it brings so many defenders to the forefront to bring them to the line of scrimmage, and then play action off of that, RPO off of that, just opens up everything downfield to keep this offense banging out the big plays, which I think is going to be a focus going forward. Sammy, Mecole, D-Rob, 2 weeks in a row. D-Rob is changing my opinion on him. This is the D-Rob I've been waiting to see. I told you guys that the year that he was brought in, drafted from Florida, that he could play the X, he could play the Z, he could play the slot, he could do it all. He's finally putting it together. So this is the D-Rob I've been waiting for. I have ridden him pretty hard. I have been fairly down on him because he hasn't shown this kind of production consistently enough so far, but more power to him. Who else stood out? I thought LDT looked really nasty today. I did specifically look at him on a couple of plays. Mahomes is Mahomes. On the defensive side, I thought, again, Charvarius Ward up and down. I thought he had a good play here and got beat up a little bit on another one there. I think he was the victim of the push-off, if I remember correctly. So, again, a lot of up and down. I thought Breeland actually played pretty dang well. Pretty impressed with Bashaud Breeland, especially knowing that they move around a little bit, but not much. And they ended up being able to get Marquise Brown on Breeland a number of times. And that is, on paper, speed-wise, a complete mismatch. I thought he did a pretty good job staying with him. I thought he did a pretty good job handling those routes, understanding, using his veteran presence to know where these things might be going, what they should look like. Clearly, he did some good film study as well. Again, that's a rookie with a kind of a limited tree that's still working, so it plays into his favor as a veteran. But to see him pay that off, that's what's important. Let's see. Damian Wilson, good question. I'm concerned still about the linebackers. I'm going to be really interested. I couldn't tell how much Reggie played. I thought that you had him active against a team that wants to run and runs the ball well. And they certainly did at times. I don't have the totals in front of me. But this team, the Chiefs defense, still has a problem about the run. Teams are going to do that. It's okay, because at least until the end of the third quarter today, they'd only given up 13 points. Now, the bigger problem for the defense is the fact that not only did you get run on and beat up, and even Damian Wilson, who's been playing very, very well, wasn't quite as good as he has been in weeks past. And the bigger concern is that you got to the end of the third quarter and everybody kind of, I think, took a breath and thought they had it in the bag, and bam, come the Ravens. You know what I mean? They can't afford to do that. You have to remember that there's veteran leadership in places, right? But the oldest guy on the defense is 27. So we got to remember, this is a really young roster. They have to be more resilient. I think the X factor today, and it's really starting to show more and more, how teams are getting off to a good start, and Spagnuolo's making adjustments. I thought he went to more of a off man, not a true zone, but I'm going to have to go look at the 22 before I can be certain about that, especially watching the way that I was, where I don't have the big screen in front of me. It was a bit challenge for me to say that for sure, but long story short, whatever changes he made. This is the X factor. This is what we've been talking about for several years with Bob Sutton, not being able to do these changes, to make these adjustments in order to deal with what you're seeing on the field. You can't just set a plan the night before and come through and execute it. You have to be able to adjust. This is the modern NFL, and that's the way that it works. I thought Thornhill played pretty good. That blitz, he was a hair's breadth from making it pay off. I thought that was a nice thing to see. I thought Tyrann Mathieu, that interception he almost had in the end zone was going to be beautiful. And it was a very touch grab. You got to understand, I mean, he was well outside the frame of his body. It was an all-out effort just to get that. I know some folks have been down on him. I thought in general he played pretty well. I know Frank got home and actually got a sack today. I've seen a lot of push from him. I don't feel like he's 100% into his rhythm playing like he did in Seattle yet. I think he'll get there, but I think you're getting good contributions. I thought Derek Nottie and Xavier Williams played great against the run today. You saw Nottie do a couple of interesting things. What else? Agba showed up again, sneakily consistent, making a big play a game, and being consistent in there. Looks like that rotation's going to be something to deal with for this whole season. I like that. Let's see what else. I feel for Alex Okafor. Alex Okafor is a very good athlete for a man his size. Incredible. But to see what Lamar Jackson did to him the first time, I'll give him credit because Alex adjusted his game and made sure to give him more space and didn't get juked the second time. That just shows you what kind of an athlete Lamar Jackson is. And this is again, a guy that's going to, as he progresses, we've seen Mahomes progress, right? Better at the pre-reads, although he did get his butt knocked around one time today that was completely Mahomes' fault for not setting the protection correctly. I think it came from his right side, unblocked. Everybody shifted down, and it was just a missed call. But we've seen him progress in general. I think you're going to see Lamar Jackson progress as well, and he's going to be more RPO. Obviously, you can't just ignore his legs because he's too good with them. I mean, he's not Mike Vick, but he's very good with his legs. So I think you're going to see more of that. I think we're going to be talking about these two guys and Deshaun Watson for a long, long, long time. And these three, I mean, with the injuries to Breeze and Roethlisberger, that could be career-ending for Roethlisberger, despite anything that they say. The benching of Eli Manning, you're seeing the old guard start to crumble. The next echelon of elite quarterbacks is here, and Mahomes is at the very top of it, along with and being chased by Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson. I think those are going to be a conversation for a long time. Dylan Kruckman, thanks for your donation. No more D-Rob hate. How do the Chiefs fix the run defense? Discipline. From what I saw, it was discipline. It was not being aggressive enough in taking on blocks and getting that shuck. You got to go hit a guy. I know these are all coverage linebackers, except for Wilson. I think Wilson is a really nice, well-rounded, can do it all. Even he didn't take on blocks that well today. You have to be the aggressor. You're the defense. You have to be the aggressor when they're coming after you in initiating contact and shucking it. You got to get off those blocks. I felt like the D-line was doing decent. Like, again, just seeing it live on the broadcast, I can't be 100%. I will review the film. We'll talk about that tomorrow and later in the week on the film room, which hopefully should be back to normal and be on Wednesday this week. What else? Who else? I thought Fuller made a couple of plays. I thought he got beat a couple of plays. Again, up and down, up and down. You're a week closer to having Mo Claiborne back. There's all kinds of rumors about what's going on with Jalen Ramsey, whether they want to keep him, whether they're going to let him go. Yes, no, maybe. I have no idea. I have no insight, folks. I know the Chiefs have made an offer. That's all I know. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they feel they've been outbid or Jacksonville's just holding out. Maybe the Chiefs still have the top bid and Jacksonville's just holding out because they want more. I don't know. We'll find out when we find out. I would not be surprised to see Jacksonville try to string this along, get more and more and more until the trade deadline. That's what the trade deadline's for. It will force some action here. And if Ramsey has another meltdown in the meantime, that may speed things along. That's the way those things go. I see you guys mentioned K-Pass. I'm glad you did because I forgot about that. I think he showed out. I thought his pursuit was better. I thought he set the edge fairly well, except for I think 2 times that stood out to me. Who else? I see progression from K-Pass, and that's good to see. Another young guy. I think what we're seeing is we're going to look at this season for Breeland Speaks and say, man, that if he had been in that season, he would have been able to progress a lot more. We're seeing progression from a number of guys. So I'm encouraged by that. And I think Spags and his staff, I think Daly in particular, are doing a good job. I think Matt House has a big job in front of him, and I think he's got to get his guys more aggressive. The linebacker room, in my opinion, has to get more aggressive physically at the point of contact. And I think that will help them quite a bit because they can't all run. And I think they understand their assignments. I don't see the visual hallucination where they're just hesitant all the time. I don't know. Aloha from Hawaii. And I'll go back and scan this again later. I have a friend used to be in Honolulu PD. Okay, good comments. I'm sorry I missed them all, folks. I just can't do it when I'm trying to spew all this stuff out last minute. So what we're going to do, we're going to wrap here. I'm going to do tomorrow's Q&A. Chris and I are going to record the podcast here in 10 minutes. So we'll have the Locked On Chiefs out here really quick. If you didn't see Bernard Pollard, go check that out from last week when he was on. We did a live stream that was pretty cool, and I think kind of led up to what we saw today. We're going to look for improvements from the run defense. We're going to talk about who might be in line for more snaps on offense. and we'll get there. Thank you guys for your donations. Thanks for your time and your patience with me trying to get that earlier stream up. Sorry it sounded so terrible, but we're gonna get where we get. As soon as I hear anything about Jalen Ramsey or what I think is still leading down the path where availability for Pat Peterson may come back into play. As soon as I know anything, I'll let you guys know. I'll probably just do an emergency stream if something does happen. So just keep an eye out for that, as well as the podcast. Have a beer for me. Happy weekend. Thank you guys for all your support and watching this and everything else. And 7 p.m. tomorrow night, we'll be back. So you all have a good night. Enjoy the late game. I'll talk to you later.